New York, New York, it's a wonderful town. The Bronx is up and the battery's down. The people are riding all around. New York, New York, it's a wonderful... I'll stop.
Bloopers. Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of The Game Plan here on Storgy Stories. I'm Anthony.
I am Daddy. This is part 4 of our New York series of all the things that we want to do when we see the Milwaukee Brewers take on the New York Mets and the New York Yankees on our trip to 30 different stadiums and all 30 locales to see the Milwaukee Brewers play. We waited for the best city of them all to check out as the last, New York. We've already done 3 videos on this.
Yes.
Parts 4 and 5 will involve the center of it all.
Manhattan.
It is the main borough of New York. Like most cities have a downtown.
Yeah, this is downtown. This is like the 51-mile long downtown.
And it's not just a downtown, it's a midtown, it's an uptown. It's all the different neighborhoods in between. An Upper East Side, Lower East Side, Upper West Side, Lower West Side.
South, North,
much
East, West,
to
wherever.
do, and too many options for us. It was so hard to pick our top 5 for this place. Your number 1 is a place of history and meaning in so many ways.
It's the 9/11 Memorial and Museum. And if you've ever heard of the terror attacks on America that day, you probably have. They were a sad day. It was a sad day in America.
Horrific day in American history.
This is a memorial and museum. They have the very well-known, or the fountains where they always hold the memorial service every year. And then the museum, which has artifacts and a lot of that stuff.
And the names of all the victims
Yes.
of the 9/11 attacks. And it was really not just a memorial to help people remember them. It was really a statement that was made. And I think we're going to see that with your number 3 pick as well. But a statement that was made to help people gain hope from this experience. To help give them a sense of resolve that this would not be the end of the story when it came to 9/11 and how America has bounced back and gained a sort of a new sense of itself after that tragic day. That's going to be a powerful experience. We are going to need tissues. I'm going to need probably windshield wipers for my eyeballs at a place like that. Your number 2 pick, we're doing these in alphabetical order, is a much happier spot. And you're going to need an oxygen mask for a place like this.
Not quite, but the Empire State Building on the 86th floor.
It's the Empire State Building.
They have a 360-degree outdoor observatory, and on the 102nd floor,
views of Central Park. It is one of the most iconic buildings on the planet.
Yes, and don't do what I personally love the Dodger film softball crew, so don't make the mistake they did by going to the Chrysler Building, thinking it's the Empire State Building, and then realizing it's not.
New York's skyline is the world's best by far.
Yes.
So many historic buildings, so many tall buildings.
They get it all mixed up.
Breathtaking. It's easy to make a mistake like that because those 2 historic towers are right next to each other, or they're real close to each other, just a few blocks away. So it's easy to make that mistake. But just the view from the center of Manhattan and the center of the skyline all over New York City and far beyond, the views of the ocean that are part of this, just incredible. Your number 3, which is another super tall skyscraper, and it reflects back to number 1 as well.
The One World Observatory. Right next to the 9/11 Memorial Museum. They built it after the Twin Towers were knocked down by terrorists, and this place is just amazing. You can go up to the top and look over all of New York. On the elevators, it's really cool to see. You see the set just when New York was completely unsettled, and you see right where the building was. You see all these buildings go up and up and up. You see the Twin Towers. You don't see them go down, but you see them just be gone. And then you see this place being built, and you can see the construction of this place being built on a screen in the elevators. It's just amazing.
and the power of it as well. Again, a symbol of resiliency of New York City
Yes.
and of America after that tragic
Yes.
day.
And it is
Just powerful.
And the building name is also known as Freedom Tower, resembling democracy and freedom here in our great country.
Exactly. Number 4 is another tall
Yes.
tower in New York. Not as tall as your number 2 and 3 spots, but it's got a ton of stuff that you love.
Rockefeller Center, also known as the tour of NBC Studios, right in that area. So I don't know about you, but I know for me, my entire childhood, out of all the networks, NBC's been the network.
He tends to watch NBC Nightly News
And all that.
Today
kind of
Show,
stuff.
all that stuff.
And for my mom, your wife, it was the same thing. She grew up with NBC, and so many people did. And it's just so cool to go into this network studio, into this tower. And if you go, and you can choose 2 studios to go into.
That's the same place where they shoot Saturday Night Live,
That's right.
live on Saturday nights. So we're going to have to fill you with M&Ms
Yeah.
and try and check out one of those
Jimmy
tapings.
Fallon show.
That's true.
Yes.
All that stuff there.
Last but not least,
Speaking of M&Ms,
Times Square, and they go search up Times Square M&M wall. Oh my gosh.
the M&M wall is every color of M&Ms that exists.
On like one wall.
But look what else is in there, speaking of your chocolate
Hershey's
pitch.
Chocolate World. We've been to the one in Hershey, Pennsylvania when we went on our Philadelphia trip. We went there and it was absolutely amazing. I got to make my own chocolate bar.
Yep.
I still have the digital printing of what my thing looked like my outer thing. We got to go back there, but we also got to go here.
But there's so much more besides just chocolate.
Yeah, s'mores, and Charlie Barron said something like this. And every year they drop the ball in solidarity with the New York Jets. Sorry, Jets fans, I had to. Don't blame me, blame Charlie Barron.
In other words, it's the place where they have the famous Big Apple ball dropping for the next year, the New Year's Eve celebration.
And every year, I like this past year for when it turned to 2021, I fell asleep 10 minutes before the thing on the couch. I can never stay up late enough. I can only remember like 2 years in West Virginia where I actually stayed up late enough.
Again, all we have to do is fill you with M&Ms from Times Square. If we're there on New Year's Eve, you'll have plenty of energy to get through to New Year's Day.
Maybe we have Marquette play at St. John's New Year's Day.
Possibly at the
back-to-back.
Garden. Check out our sports picks for New York City.
Or at
Things to
the
do.
on-campus arena, which we didn't talk about. But yeah, St. John's has a campus arena. Only the biggest games are played at MSG, which is just fitting.
Now time for my top 5 Manhattan things to do. And we're not including sports because we already covered that. Otherwise, MSG would be on this list.
Yes.
My number 1 is pretty big. Really big.
Literally.
51 blocks long.
Literally.
Big.
Oh, that's what I was remembering. I said Manhattan's 51 blocks. No, Central Park is 51 blocks.
Central Park. This oasis of peace and nature in the middle of the biggest hustle and bustle of any city, arguably in the world. Among its cool stuff, you got the Belvedere Castle.
Mr. Belvedere, Bob Uecker,
No relation.
who was on the show.
But it would be cool to talk to Bob Uecker there. You go to the upper floor balconies of this place and you get some fantastic views of the New York City skyline. You got the famous arches there. You got a
St. Louis Arch or like the sand arches?
much smaller than the St. Louis Arch. Just enough for a car to drive through.
Oh, okay.
But they're very famous arches. You got a boatload of statues. Everything from Alexander Hamilton to Duke Ellington to Alice in Wonderland to Romeo and Juliet. Just crazy reasons for statues.
Yes.
You got a lot of fountains and ponds and the Kennedy Onassis Reservoir.
Yes, named after not the president, but the first lady.
Umpire Rock. No connection to baseball with this, but it's a bunch of bedrocks, ancient bedrocks, that you can stand on. They're almost 500 million years old.
Yes.
And the most powerful thing to check out, though, at Central Park, Strawberry Fields. It's a tribute to John Lennon.
Who he was actually shot right across the street from where it is.
It's a memorial to him, and he passed away a little more than 40 years ago. It is this incredible experience to that Beatle who helped change modern music.
Yes.
My number 2 is a bit of a personal experience, though it has some connections
I wanted to pick this.
to some famous New York iconic experiences. It is not just Macy's on 34th Street, but the old Gimbel's building.
I wanted
on
to pick
34th
Macy's,
Street.
by the way, because Macy's Thanksgiving Parade, everybody knows it.
Yep, happens every Thanksgiving morning. You can watch it in the morning before you do your Thanksgiving meal in the United States. But the Gimbels across the street, they were the competitor to Macy's as the world's best department store. And your grandma and your great-grandma worked there.
That is so, so cool.
What was amazing was they were based here in Milwaukee at their Milwaukee offices, but my grandmother, your great-great-grandmother, or your great-grandmother...
I don't even know who my great-great-grandmother was.
She was a fantastic great-grandma, I'll put it that way. She was one of the first female executives, at least where we lived. Her job was to be the head buyer for the Gimbel's department store chain.
So she would go to like all of the like the Gucci's and the Louis Vuittons
Yep.
and all those places.
And find out what they were selling and pick the best stuff for Gimbel's location. She'd go all over the world
Wow.
for this type of stuff. She'd go to Italy. She'd be in New York so often. Take my mom with her. They would work together on this. And this location in New York City is where they were based for so much of what they did. It's a personal memory to me. Number 3 came from a suggestion from our friend Melanie Griesemer. Check out her channel. Check out her experience of what we're about to describe to you. Manhattanhenge. Do you know about Stonehenge?
Yes, of course.
The famous rocks
Yes, of course.
on the in Britain? This is New York's version of it. It's where at a particular time of year, you can see the sunset during the summer, and it is just so picturesque as the sunlight comes off the concrete canyons and the glass of the skyscrapers in New York City. It's right by the United Nations headquarters, but you can see the sunset right smack dab in the middle of the New York streets
That's so cool.
on May 29th and 30th at 8:11 p.m.
Don't give away the times.
It's okay. And July 11th and 12th at 8:20 p.m.
Well, now everybody will go there. All of our subscribers, which thank you for subscribing.
Absolutely.
You-
hit the subscribe button if you haven't, but we love you either way.
You all are so, so awesome.
Thank you. But even in between those days, it's such a cool view of the sun as it's going down.
Yes.
And to see the sun and to see that scene is amazing.
Okay.
Just amazing. My number 4 is maybe the greatest art museum in the world, not located in Paris. It is the Metropolitan Museum of Art. It is in Central Park. They have more than 2 million pieces of art.
Did you just say 2 million?
That's one piece of art
Oh.
for every single person in the metropolitan area of Milwaukee. They could all take a piece of art and put it in their house, and there would still be
Hold
some.
on, fact check.
Fact check.
I'm
What?
kidding.
Look at some of the art that they got there. Claude Monet's The Water Lily Pond.
What?
Jacques Louis David's The Death of Socrates. Some of the greatest pieces of art in the world are located in this one building in New York City.
They have to add the Mona Lisa.
It would take days to go check out everything that's on display, let alone everything else that they don't have display. It's incredible
Oh my gosh.
what they have in this place.
Oh my gosh, you're right.
And my number 5 and final pick is a bit of a surprise, a bit of an unknown,
Oh, I don't even know. I've never heard of it.
but it's got a personal connection to our family. Minton's Playhouse. Who's one of Mommy's favorite singers?
Billie Holiday?
She has played at this little New York jazz club that is said to be maybe the most iconic on the planet.
Like, listen to all these names. Miles Davis, Duke Ellington, Louis Armstrong, Ella Fitzgerald, and a whole bunch of other people.
Thelonious Monk, Dizzy Gillespie, Charlie Parker. That's just the start of the list. If you love jazz, you go here. You go here. What you do is you start the night at the steakhouse that's part of the place called Cecil's Steakhouse. And look at some of the cuisine that they got that you'd like.
Big chicken tender with melted cheese. Ask for ketchup or whatever on the side.
Chicken parmesan. Chicken parm. And they got mac and cheese there. I would go after the lamb burger.
Giannis
Giannis style.
Is that actually a thing that they named after Giannis?
No, but we call it Yana style because it's a Greek burger.
Yes.
Or lobster ravioli.
Everybody tag Charlie Barons and Giannis on this video.
Then, after your dinner, they take you through a secret kitchen passageway into the nightclub where you watched a jazz performance later that night. This place is history. The history of American music, and maybe the greatest contribution of American music to the music world from this particular locale that made the most historic jazz club in the world. We get at least one more video to come on our New York series, and maybe in some people's eyes, the best of them all. It is
Manhattan, top 5 restaurants for each of us.
What do you do to check out this amazing list of restaurants that we're going to give you next week?
Like, share, subscribe, hit the bell.
Ding, 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 ding. And can you take us out, Bob Uecker style?
This presentation was presented by Georgie Stories on the Brewers Radio Network. So long, everybody.